you. Like, ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate plotting my elimination. Gotta go to Google for the information. I'm a superstar, so I gotta shine. Top dollar be the bottom line. Bottom feeding niggas out of line. Turn your heart rate to a dotted line. Yeah, my zodiac probably dollar sign. Got the energy to win it, my nigga, I'm feeling great. Got a day with destiny, focusing on my fate. I don't give a fuck what you rapping, you been a fake. I'm everything that they ain't, it can't be, it won't be. Wanna see me fall, I can't go, I won't leave. Coming from the block with plain clothes and police. Straight up to the top with bankrolls and rollies. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, 12 can't really stop shit, so I'm still pushing like a mosh pit. Ice dripping, think I'm hot shit. In a yellow bucket with the mop stick. I've been jugging jams like wholesale. Everything must go sell. Hitting bitches with the old well. Need 100 million on the low scale. On my worst night, I'm the best nigga. Wouldn't mess with you, couldn't cap to him. Homie spotted me like 700, brought 1100 right back to him. If I can't do it, then it ain't real. I just make dollars, I don't make deals. I've been going hard in the paint, still blowing kush clouds till I can't feel like. Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right?
Hello. In here, out there. Welcome everyone to Titan Vanquisher League. I'm Zazakel, joined here by Anti. Welcome. Who's excited for some League of Legends here? Anti, how you doing?
Oh, baby. I mean, you said who's excited for League of Legends, and I, for one, definitely am. It's been a hot minute since I've been on the mic, and it's the first time we're on the mic together, and I'm pretty dang excited for this one.
First time I'm here with Titan, so I'm very, very excited. And what better way to spend a Tuesday night than watching some high-level League of Legends? I am very excited for this matchup between Iceborn and Syndicate here in Vanquisher. So, obviously, just the second week of the season, still pretty early on. A lot of teams trying to establish themselves as best as they can, but obviously, Iceborn coming off of a loss, I believe, in week 1. What do you think they need to do? What needs to be the mindset coming into this week to make sure that they could turn their season around here early on?
Well, I will say, right, it's very, very early into the season. We got a lot of time ahead of us, and it might be your first time catching with Titan around, this league, but what better way to really get you into it than Iceborn and Syndicate? These two orgs have been with Titan for quite a while, and these two orgs have always managed to churn out some very, very strong teams. Now, sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get the ball rolling. So, Iceborn, they're not necessarily in the greatest of positions right now, but you got to remember, it was week 1, right? Who really knows what it's going to mean in the end. It could have just been against a very strong opponent. In the meantime, Syndicate also standing strong. I'm just really excited to see how these two teams really do end up playing into one another. We're already seeing Nefiri taken straight off the table. Champion is not okay. I know so many people just aren't too fond of that one.
The dog is out. Can't be happier for it. As someone who does play a lot of jungle, Nefiri, not a fan. Definitely a very meta pick to be taken off the board right here. But also Echo, also taken out, and Syndra. So obviously, patch has been in play for I think almost a week now. So obviously, there were a lot of champion adjustments. Is there any champion in particular that you're looking for here, based on the buffs and nerfs from last patch?
So based on the buffs and nerfs, I was gonna say Pantheon probably still isn't off the table, and speaking of which, I guess he certainly is off the table. Pantheon and Nefiri, two of the strongest junglers on the previous patch, still very much problems that they want to be paying attention to right now, it seems. I'm actually really surprised that the Echo Syndra dichotomy was take it in so early. And speaking of early picks, the Varus immediately slammed down.
Varus, first pick. I mean, this doesn't really shock me. Varus is definitely, farm from safe distance. Definitely a safe AD carry. Not mobile, so definitely need to look out for that. But also Jhin on the other side, two very immobile carries. Both of them very heavy hitters though, so that's very exciting to see. And it's Vi coming out as the jungler for Iceborn.
Yeah, now with the Vi and Jhin pick right here, so that does tell you that Iceborn might not necessarily have a DPS pick for a tank. So you've got Rek'Sai. Okay, yeah, now it's been a while.
One of my favorite champions. I'm shocked to see here. There is a very common meme going around. Need to buff Rek'Sai. She has a very high win rate, not a very high play rate. Rek'Sai is so much fun. Love seeing it here. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Chill Savior can do with this champion. I'm assuming it's going jungle, but we will have to see. As if we're talking about meta, Rumble picked up for the top lane of Iceborn. That is just such a standard top laner pick there.
Okay, so Rumble, very good pick here. So one thing that I will note though, with Rumble on the table, that does mean that they at least have some sort of quote-unquote tank busting, because, Rumble tends to build a lot of that percent health shred. So at least their team's not going to be super heavily indexed on, hey, you have to burst someone down, they're all squishy, etc., etc. But as Iceborn, you still have to be a little bit careful about it, because if Syndicate just double up on meat shields, on beef balls, and just throw some tanks in, it's a little bit hard for them to really break through that front line. In the meantime, you already have heavy DPS on Syndicate side with the Varus, with the Rise. You could even just opt for the lethality Varus, and there we go. There's the DPS that we were looking for. The Azir picked up means that it's not just going to be pick meat shields, run over the enemy team.
Absolutely, we didn't really discuss bans in the second phase, but if you want to talk about top laners who want to fight, Warwick coming through here for Batman in top lane.
All right, so Warwick going to be picked up here. So we've also got, a guarantee really that there's not going to be the double up on point and click CC. It's not going to be Vi's ulti into a depth charge, but in the meantime, Leona is going to get picked up. So point and click as it can be.
You're asking about,
right?
Yep, there we go. That is a very good setup here. Vi ultimate, long range engage from Leona as well. Over top of a Rumble ultimate, Azir ultimate, Jhin firing in. I really like what Iceborn has cooked up here, at least. And if you look at the other side, definitely some spicier picks, coming out with the Warwick top, the Rek'Sai jungle. These are not picks that you typically see in competitive settings, but definitely if you look on Iceborn, it's just tried and true. This is kind of just what you expect from a competitive roster.
Yeah, I mean, on the right side on Iceborn, you can see it and you realize immediately it's like, this is a deathball composition. You walk into mid lane, you take a look at one poor soul, you hit R on Vi, and they're not going to get a chance to play the game. In the meantime, on Syndicate side, you have a team that says, all right, how do you deal with Exodia? you gotta take the pieces apart. Just get the cards or rip them up, throw them in the ocean, like, if you watch that OG Yu-Gi-Oh season. But Yu-Gi-Oh aside, it's
That's
the
a throwback.
same thing when it comes to League of Legends, right? You have to take apart the pieces of Exodia. And in order to do that, a 1-3-1 split composition has a really good way to do it. If you put Varus on lethality, he can just farm from really far away. He has the Rek'Sai and the Nautilus in order to peel for him. And Ryze and Warwick, incredible side laners, and they are guaranteed to draw people to those side lanes as long as the game doesn't get too out of control. This could be extremely snowball in either way, so I'm really excited to see how this does play out on the Rift.
Yeah, absolutely. Warwick, probably one of the best duelists in top lane for sure. Only downside, what I don't really like, is he doesn't provide that global pressure because he usually doesn't end up taking that TP. So that will be interesting to see how Syndicate is able to play around that. Obviously, we'll have to adjust, but if you have the Realm Warp, maybe you don't need a TP as well. So definitely something to look out for. But just looking at drafts, I'm not thinking about team the players right now. Just looking at drafts, what would you favor? Going into this game 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, we're week 2 into the split. A lot of these teams have not really had the time to fully mesh and fully get into the right position to pull off a difficult composition like the one that Syndicate has. If I'm just looking at these team compositions and taking into account that we're 2 weeks in, Iceborn's composition is hit R, run over the enemy team. You cannot go wrong with that. It's so much easier to pull off. Meanwhile, Syndicate, if they do fall behind, if they do force a team fight and they say, all right, well, we have to play for Soul, we have to play for Baron, etc., you get one of your DPS units to play the game. Like, Vi is going to shut down Varus, shut down Ryze. One of the two, if they do step up, isn't really going to get a chance to play. And Varus can at least just build lethality. Ryze has to get within Vi ult range. It's going to be very difficult to really be in that position. In the meantime, Iceborn have a lot of ways to really separate the teams. They have the Equalizer. They have the Azir Wall. They just have a lot of different ways to make it difficult for Syndicate to pull off what they want. But as always, snowbally composition, you really just need those first few kills.
I am terrified of the late game potential of Iceborns for sure. The late game Azir throwing down under a Rumble ultimate, like it is very, very terrifying. If anyone on Syndicate gets caught out, it just means lights out for that team fight. So definitely something to consider. But I really do appreciate the spicy picks coming off here from Syndicate. Pulling in like the Rek'Sai, the Warwick. Definitely a bit unorthodox, but awesome nonetheless. I'm not sure if we are getting into game here right now, but I think we're just going to go into a quick... Can we?
Yeah. Right now we'll just be going over to a quick break, so don't go anywhere. And we are so excited to see how this does play out. Y'all take care.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Time for some League of Legends action. I am still joined here by Anti, and I am very, very excited. Here we go. No fun level 1 shenanigans, unfortunately, but what are you looking for both of these rosters early on here in this match?
I mean, honestly, there's a part of me that's looking for more shenanigans, but I think that if you're both of these teams, you do not really want anything too crazy to go on. If the game just stays extremely, extremely stable, you should be fine, right? There's nothing too crazy that you want. If you do get early kills, right, it's kind of just over, especially when you take into account that Chill Savior is rocking that Rek'Sai, his highest mastery champion, and I believe one of the, if not the highest ranked player in the game. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see just how things do go. I know that you're particularly excited to see that Rek'Sai Ezekiel.
Rek'Sai is one of my favorite champions, absolutely. Chill Savior is rocking the best skin, in my opinion, so that definitely means some good fortune, perhaps, moving forward, but just eliminating the ward in the river, making sure no one knows where that... oh, we already got fighting down here in the bot lane. Willie taking a little bit of a trade there. Not really in their favor, but both junglers starting on the bot side, so planning to perhaps path up to that very, very volatile top lane here.
Yeah, extremely, extremely volatile. And speaking of volatile, this bot lane is looking very, very much so. But, you know, Oprah for the Winfrey just going to be very happy to get some quick hooks on here and there every single time the Aftershock's available, it seems.
Hook supports melee top laners. This is going to be a game that the junglers will be able to influence very, very easily. A lot of setup in both of these lanes. Going to be very, very curious to see. Like I said, both of them are pathing to top lane right now, so we will see how their pathing is able to impact this top lane early on. But yeah, bot lane is just fighting constantly. A lot of hooks, so here we go again. Root coming through, and it looks like Oprah for the Winfrey is looking for perhaps another hook. Husky Templar is now down below health, so is Willie, and they just kind of have to back off as their enemies are almost full health.
Yeah, I mean, just below half health, and you see the hooks going wide, but it's not quite going to turn into a kill just yet. Y'all gotta chill a little bit. I mean, you both do know where the enemy junglers are, but that's still really, really aggressive early on. In the meantime, in top lane, one thing that's really interesting to see is that you do have the Rumble versus the Warwick, which is a matchup that you actually do see as a Warwick player, not too infrequently, but every time you do see it, Rumble takes Ignite, right? Because Rumble is one of those few champions that really can justify just slapping Ignite directly onto the opponent, getting so much kill power. In the meantime, Vi might be in a lot of trouble. Oh no,
yeah, Vi might be in trouble. Hypnotic Viper is trying to make a getaway, but CP Batman has thrown on the W to try and chase this Vi as much as he can. But now, he is fleeing away. The flash is used as well, and the follow-through from the Warwick chomping through the Vi, and it's a first blood picked up here by Tengo in the mid lane.
Man, Hypnotic Viper was trying to be a little cheeky, trying to do something a little crazy, knew that Chill Savior was coming closer over the wall and said, all right, I'm just gonna stand still. They're not gonna be able to see me. It'll be fine. Bam, Warwick, jump scare.
I knew what he was going for there. I thought maybe he would charge up the Q and stand still, but then he just kind of stood there. When you're getting chased by a Warwick, that's not entirely going to work. So that's a little bit unfortunate there for Hypnotic Viper. Had to invest the flash as well, but Chill Savior used his. So both these junglers will have slightly less playmaking, but here we go. On the bot lane, Willie has already been dragged in by the hook, is now trying to run away, does have his jungler there for support, but there is no ADC. And here they go further. Willie forced to flash the wall, but now that has put a target onto Hypnotic Viper's back. And now Oprah for the Winfrey is looking for something, and Viper just has to give up the grub as his support kind of sold him out there by dragging him all the way back.
Oh my god, that's a they found us hide and seek play if I've ever seen one. Hypnotic Viper is not having a good time in the slightest. We've seen some attempts at some cutesy plays here and there, but at the very least, Iceborn is just struggling right now. They're just trying to play their own game. They don't want to get snowballed on, but like we said, right? It only takes a couple kills to really get the ball rolling, and one kill onto the Rise is the one person where you think to yourself, oh, well, it'll be fine. They're not going to be a problem until much later into the game, right?
I mean, you would want to hope so, right? But already snowballing on that Rise, like you said, is such a huge deal because now there's constant wave clear. They won't really be able to do anything in that mid lane, so definitely is going to be rough. But Iceborn still early on, can turn this around. The root coming through here from Willie and Husky Templar on the follow-through. Idris is now forced to use the cleanse and try to make his escape. Oprah for the win, Free dives in to try and save his ADC. Does land the hook onto Husky Templar, but that might have spelled his own doom, as now the Nautilus is going to be the one that goes down. But the Idris will respond with his own kill and the flash to ensure that he is still able to make it out. But here we go, back in top lane. There's just constant fighting around the rift here as Kennedy is able to make their escape as CB Batman's ult just kind of falls onto nothing.
Yeah, but more fighting in this bot lane. Still Husky Templar and Idris going toe-to-toe, keeping the Jhin here, and just like that, the Realm Warp, the Flash was completely biffed, but it doesn't matter because Arcane Comet's got your back.
That might have been the most unnecessary flash I've ever seen, but that might not matter. As here we go in top lane. Chill Savior does not have the ultimate! No ultimate on Rek'Sai means no reset. And the double kill picked up here from Kennedy, as that is just a slight whiff coming through from Syndicate here.
No ultimate from Rek'Sai, no kill, and 3 more problems onto the board for Syndicate there. Iceborn finding a way to get back into this game, not only evening up that kill count, but picking up that first dragon. They might have lost the feat of warfare, but they are far from out of this game. It was looking so good, and they decided, what if we just step forward a little bit more? But they've already hit their limit here. You got to slow things down a little bit, Syndicate.
Absolutely. That dive, again, just... It looked like CB Batman was like originally tanking, but then didn't want to. So then that threw the aggro onto Chill Savior, who doesn't have the ultimate, doesn't have flash, can't really escape there at all. Obviously, with the Rek'Sai ultimate, that dive might have been possible, but I think jumping the gun a little bit, especially after seeing that Vi was bot lane, that may have just been a bit hasty coming out through here from Syndicate.
Yeah, in the meantime, we do have that lane swap coming on in. A big fight in that top lane. Hold on. Not really 100% certain what's going on here.
Yeah, CB Batman now has forced to use the flash, but the Vi is able to follow through. And now CB Batman has no way to really escape this. The CC is just so brutal, and not even Warwick can heal himself out of that situation. Down goes CB Batman for the second time in this game, and now it's 4-3 in favor of Iceborn.
Yeah, in the meantime, Chill Savior trying to threaten another dive onto Kennedy, but we've already seen just how well this Rumble loves to tower dance. Do not want to try that one again, even with that Rek'Sai ultimate available. But right there, CB Batman not necessarily having the greatest of gains. Oprah Winfrey with the flash.
Oh, what a great ultimate there, but it might not be enough to save him. The flash is still not used, but it's Chill Savior somehow. I think the red buff picking up that kill as the ignite was on him, but that was almost a very perfect play there by Corrin to save himself, but just not quite enough to seal the deal.
Yeah, played about as well as physically possible, but sometimes it really is just checkmate. In the meantime, Idris just going to continue to farm up this bot side on that lethality Varus that we mentioned earlier. But right here, it's really getting back and forth and back and forth. It's a question as to what exactly is going to happen as the game moves on. My biggest question mark, though, is that Warwick. CB Batman needs to be at the very least strong enough to drag 2 people to a side lane. If you only drag 1 to a side lane, it's not too bad as long as you're keeping the pieces of Exodia away from one another, but you really want to drag at least 2. And when you're down 0-2-1 and rushing a Bork on Warwick, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see that actually come to fruition.
Definitely going to be very curious to see, because like you said, now CB Batman is not necessarily too far behind. Yes, 2 kills off of that botched dive, but still keeping up in CS, is still Warwick, is still a fantastic duelist. So Definitely still a threat in the 1v1. We will see if he is able to turn it around here. Does have his jungler in the area and Nautilus going up there as well. Will this be dive round 2? Doesn't look like it. It looks like instead they just maybe no, they're still playing around. This might be another dive coming through here as Hennessy does try to hold the wave in front of his tower and not prevent it from coming in.
Yeah, but one of the big things about Warwick and Rumble is Warwick has a negative wave clear here, so just very, very slow to get that wave into
true,
the
but here
wall.
we go. The Rumble ultimate coming through. The ultimate coming from the Warwick as well might be enough, but now who is tanking? It looks like it was actually Oprah Winfrey as the reset coming through this time from Chill Savior. Has the ultimate, is able to drop tower aggro. That is a well played dive there from the side of Syndicate.
Yeah, we were definitely scared that time around. We saw the last one. Oh no, Idris.
You dive, so can we. That is a great shuffle there from Corrin, throwing the Varus into his team, and that is just equaling once again the kills across the map.
Welcome to summer. You hop over to your local pool and watch everyone ignore the no diving sign, just like how we're seeing over here on the broadcast, because every single person is just being told, yeah, just play safe, you'll be fine. And it's not fine. It's never fine. Nowhere is safe from these players. Everyone's so willing to go straight into that deep end and risk their lives for that little bit of extra golden tempo. Speaking of which,
meanwhile, we got another fight here in the mid lane. Corrin now having to flash out, does still have the dash to make sure he gets away. But that is the flash now down for the mid laner with dragon spawning. That means it's likely he's just going to go over to Syndicate and even up the dragons here.
yeah, dragons thankfully going to be evened up. In the meantime, Ryze is going to go ahead and teleport over to that top lane. Just make sure that Kennessy's not getting a free tower in the meantime. Still no feats fully realized for either of the teams here, so got to be really careful to see what exactly is in store. Is it going to be that first tower? Is it going to be another fight in the mid lane? Oh my god.
We got another fight. It's Hypnotic Viper getting caught by 3 of the enemy team. Hennessy flashing the wall to make sure Idris cannot escape. The Leona ultimate will miss Chill Savior, so he is still able to use the tunnels to make his escape, and it looks like it is just going to be the one casualty here for the side of Syndicate.
Yeah, and in the end, Idri is going to get taken out once again. Very, very difficult for this Varus to succeed, despite the fact that it is the lethality Varus, does have the ability to stand, twice as far away as what we might usually see, but oh boy.
Okay, here we go. Yet another fight. All right, flash forward here from Chill Savior, forces the flash out for Husky Templar as well, but now it looks like they don't have the damage to continue this fight, so they are still trying to make their escape. So it looks like only casualty from this fight is 2 flashes. I may have spoken too soon, as now there's more fighting going on in both the mid lane and the top lane, as Hypnotic Viper is looking for some way to get onto Tango, but it looks like the fighting has ceased across the map, and I'm going to stop talking. Never mind. Nope. Here we go. The Varus ultimate coming through does land onto Willie, though. I think was looking instead for Husky Templar, but who needs to land the ultimate when an arrow will do the trick?
Yeah, and just like that, the arrows just raining down again and again, just doing so much damage. And finally, you get a chance to rest your voice a little bit, but it has just been non-stop fighting and fighting and fighting, and we're 12 kills in. Turret Place just went down. Corrin, on the other hand, looking for the play.
That's the 2-man shuffle, and it's Hypnotic Viper picking the kill onto Oprah. And now Idris and Chill Savior, neither of them have flashes, are forced to just walk away from this. So once again, just another kill going over, as these teams are just trading kills back and forth. As again, the whole cross maps from both these teams are really well performed. But here we go, the flash forward from the Warwick. Corrin can't dash out of that in time, and it's CB Batman again. The kills are even. As soon as one team gets a kill, it is the opposite team making a play to make sure that gold lead does not stray too far away.
Yeah, and just like that, we, for a short moment, weren't at a kill a minute, so the team simply decided, yeah, you know what, let's get things evened up, let's get back to that 1 kill a minute moment. So now we're at minute 15, we might just be looking to see another fight in the mid lane. Oprah, I don't know if you really
why has no one died? We need another kill. We need another kill here. We need 1 kill a minute, in a high diamond league. Come on, guys. This is what we're looking for.
Yeah, you know,
here.
we're looking like 2015 LPL.
Exactly. Rift Herald has been started up here. I believe this would actually give them the feats because I think they have 3 grubs, 1 dragon, and now the Rift Herald. So they do manage to claim that feat, but here we go. The Varus ultimate does trap the Leona. Looks like was trying to flash away, but it won't even matter as she goes down first. Meanwhile, it is the dive back in here from Viper. That might have been a mistake, as CB Batman is here to join the party, but it's the Shurima wall protecting the team, and Jhin ultimate over top will be able to try and dissuade any further action here, but now there's a very low health bars on both of these teams as Corrin decides he doesn't care that there's 5 of the enemy team. He wants to fight, and meanwhile it's Rumble ultimate picking up at least 1 more kill, and it's going to be the cease and desist pinning down the Rise, as it's going to be, I think, a 2 for 2 in the end here. Hypnotic Viper is very low, and it looks like that is what Warwick is after. The speed of that ultimate is not enough, as that is going to be Warwick going down, and the kills finally balance out to 4 for Iceborn and only 2 for Syndicate.
Kills balancing out to 911. Call the ambulance, but not for Hypnotic Viper. CB Batman had bloodlust in his eyes, just thought to himself, there's no way that I don't get the kill right here, right now. But I believe that was, I don't know, that was just the shield plus the extra little bit of healing there on the Vi allowed Hypnotic Viper to survive for just a little bit longer. But look at the gold. It's so even across the board. And then you look at top lane.
Top lane, it's just a completely different story. Kennedy 5-1-2 on the Rumble, making the most of that 1v2 outplay at that turret dive. But meanwhile, Dragon is up, and with the lead that Iceborn was able to collect, it looks like this is just going to be their Dragon for free.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like a very, very simple Dragon take here, but with that first tower taken by Iceborn as well, that should be full feats for Iceborn, I believe. But in the meantime, they're looking for tier 2 on the side of Syndicate.
Yep, and it looks like they are going to at least, again, the cross maps are really well executed by both these teams. They know if we can't contest this Dragon, we can at least look for a few turrets here. But meanwhile, it looks like Willie has returned to help his mid laner, and now they are chasing. It is 2v3, so might not want to overchase here. It looks like Corrin has just gone back to the wave, so no action will be coming through here. Hypnotic Viper almost gets caught by Oprah, but just not quite enough to land that hook.
Yeah, not quite yet enough to land that hook. Oh my god, CB Batman going straight on in.
Warwick! He does not give a damn, but he will actually fall before he could really accomplish anything. Kennedy is very low. That is quite a big shutdown that would be beneficial for Syndicate, but so far it's just the Warwick that has fallen. But some low health bars here on the side of Iceborn means engage. Flash is there, but the Shurima wall will not be enough to save Husky Templar. The turret will go up, but Tango gets the kill onto the Willie, and now here we go. The rest of the fight is actually seeming to go in favor of Iceborn, as Kennedy has returned to the fray, but the Realm Warp just lands. Oh, Hypnotic Viper misses the Q, but Kennedy does not care. He is Rumble. He will burn you to a crisp. Oprah for the win will fall as well, and it's a double kill picked up here for the mid laner of Iceborn, but CB Batman has made his return to just die yet again, as that is now a unofficial triple here for Corrin, and that is that fight was long enough for CB Batman to die, come back, and then die again.
That fight started off with CB Batman seeing a pick and going straight for it, running straight in with the ultimate in mid lane, dying, and running straight back in as everyone gets taken out. 1v3 and dying again. It is not looking great for Warwick top lovers here, but more importantly than that, it is not looking great for Syndicate fans. Iceborn looking to be in a very, very good position. Once again, they have the easy to execute push art composition. Another tower taken down, inside track on the Otacon here. It's looking so much worse for Syndicate.
All right, here we go. Yet another fight. Oprah for the win is just kind of sacrificed to the Wolves here, as it's 5 moving as a single unit here for the side of Iceborn, and that is just full retreat here coming out from Syndicate as the tower goes down. Now it looks like they're on the Atacon is on the menu here, as now it is a 4v3. Rise is just going to keep pushing, and Atacon going slowly down, but down nonetheless.
Yeah, slowing down a little bit, but we're still well over a kill a minute at this point. But right now, Chill Savior over the wall.
This looks terrifying for Kennedy, who is a very, very fed Rumble, but it don't matter.
The ultimate?
Numbers. So, fun fact about the ultimate here from Chill Savior. It will reset now. As you can see, there's no visual bug. The ultimate from Chill Savior will reset because if Rek'Sai goes down into the ground and her target dies, it is put on a 10-second cooldown instead of the full minute and a half. So, just a quick way to reset the ultimate, but Chill Savior will still have their ultimate.
Thankfully, Chill Savior will still have the ultimate, but I was more of thinking about Idris committing the ultimate at the very end to last hit the kill onto Kennedy, but at the very least, it's Varus. Not a very high cooldown on that ultimate. I mean, it's already mostly back. Thankfully, the feats of strength already fully completed for the side of Iceborn, so they do still have the option to play towards the later stages of the game, is what I would say if they weren't already winning so hard in these stages of the game. Now, one thing that I will say is missing from Kennedy's inventory is a lack of any sort of healing reduction for that Warwick whatsoever. Now, despite that fact, Kennedy is so far ahead and CB Batman is so far behind, you can honestly ignore that healing for a decent bit of time. But in the meantime, CB Batman, I do not like that positioning. Looks to be very, very aggressive here.
Yeah. Plus, with the bounty that they picked up onto Kennedy, the gold has actually gotten quite a bit more even. Just now, 1,000 gold in favor of Iceborn. This fight can truly go either way. It all depends on right now. Vision and control of the river does belong to Iceborn, and it looks like they are going to start up this dragon here, and it is melting completely. Dragon taken, but now they're marching down mid lane here, Syndicate. Now it's Iceborn needed to start in the fight, and here we go. Willie will be the first one to dive in. Oprah Winfrey is almost dead completely. The Rumble ultimate doesn't really impact as much as they want to. The first one to die is Chill Savior, but it's Batman now trying to find the first kill, and he will. And now Tango is so tanky on this rise, and that was almost a complete disaster here for the side of Iceborn, but it's 2 kills to 3, and they are able to save face and perhaps not lose the game.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about choke points. It's always going to be a major factor in every single one of these matches. The choke points are extremely volatile, especially into heavy AoE champions like the Varus, like the Rise. You just had so many arrows pelting straight through the entire team. In the meantime, Iceborn was preoccupied dealing with CB Batman, dealing with Chill Savior, dealing with Oprah for the Winfrey on the front line. In the meantime, they didn't have the same luxury of dealing with the enemy team in a choke point. They had to throw down the Azir wall, the equalizer, straight into mid lane, where, you know, Idris just got to free hit and just walk around as much as he wanted. And Tango, as you said, extremely tanky on the rise, to the point where, you know, we might even need to check his computer at this point, because it seems that we got a pause going
game.
on.
A mage cannot be this tanky. That is not allowed. Pause the game. We're figuring this out.
That is not normally.
Absolutely, you are correct. Playing through that choke point, so effective. Plus, if you consider the Nautilus ultimate as well, that is such a big component of, you know, knocking up multiple people, setting them up for that Varus arrows to just penetrate the entirety of the enemy team. So definitely a really well
Oh
fought
yeah.
fight by the side of Syndicate to not only even up the game, but now they are in a gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, gold lead is such a good position to be in, no matter which team you are. But for Syndicate, especially, it's not just a good position, it's a necessity, right? Because if you do have that gold lead, you can snowball, you can drag people over to those side lanes. And one of the really big important things for this match, right, is CB Batman was able to do enough in that choke point with that fear, with that ultimate, and most importantly, with that healing to stay alive long enough to be a threat that the enemy team has to focus on, right? So I was saying that, Tennessee didn't have a putrefying orb in the inventory, so it was a little bit scary to see whether or not it would actually come into play, but we said it's fine. Tennessee's so far ahead, there's so much damage coming out of the Rumble. I'm sure the putrefying orb isn't going to be a big issue here or there, and immediately afterwards commentator curse comes in clutch for the side of Syndicate, and CB
That's your
Batman
fault. Yeah.
getting a chance to play. Whoops, my bad.
Yeah. Definitely, Warwick, I feel, is one of those champions that no matter how far behind he is, you cannot ignore him. He does
Oh yeah.
a buttload of damage, has multiple forms of CC, including a suppression, which is a huge form of just preventing someone on the enemy team from doing anything. So definitely is not a champion that you can ignore no matter how far behind he is. Yes, there have been some times where he has just run into the enemy team and died several times, but he is still performing as he needs to be, being constant disruption, being a source of CC for his team, and the damage is coming through. Varus is now really far ahead. Tengu is really far ahead. That is what this comp wants to accomplish. So definitely has to be a bit more of a frontline now. Can't really play that side lane like you were alluding to earlier, but definitely can still be such a nuisance for the enemy team.
Yeah. That being said, after that fight, if we don't see 800 gold getting, specified towards that Warwick healing, this champion's going to be a really big problem, right? I mean, early in the game, it says, okay, well, it's fine. CB Batman's just rushing a Borg. There's no survivability on that. Now we're getting closer and closer to that Titanic Hydra, to, the actual tank items on the Warwick,
just
where it's going to be.
Breaker, so yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. I mean, Stridebreaker as well. Also, a very, very rough position to be in, to deal with a Warwick that has not only the health and the attack speed from the Stridebreaker, but the sticking power, as if the champion didn't have enough sticking power. So we were saying that
slow onto that.
Yeah, I know, right? We were saying that he wasn't going to be doing so much side laning, but the fact that he has it finished means that he can at the very least threaten a lot of that. And if people do end up trying to go for, oh my goodness, what is this camera angle? We're going kind of crazy.
Welcome back to the Rift, I believe. Looks like we are still temporarily paused, but so before we hop back into the action, as we wait for the spectator delay to catch up, now you are at a slight goal disadvantage here on the side of Iceborn. You do have that soul point, so definitely want to potentially play around that. What is I was about to say what is needed in order to make sure you can fight your way back into this game, and maybe picking off Tengo is the way to go, as Tengo is running but can't run from the big punches of Vi, and that is going to be the mid laner going down here on the side of Syndicate.
Yeah, no Lulu found, but you're still going to get picks every which where you look in this game. Iceborn still understanding, all right, well, if we're going to side lane, we've got to figure out how to take out these stragglers, and point-and-click CC is a pretty dang good way to do it. There's a reason why this team had that early gold lead in the first place, but it's a little bit interesting that they did end up going for and succeeding in going for Tengo instead of going for CB Batman, who has been the target so much of the time. So I am seeing another amplifying tome in Tennessee's inventory. I am hoping to God that that's going to turn into a putrefying orb, but the Baron is getting started up, and this could be huge.
All right, why not? We are 50-50 in this game. Okay, turns out they were just looking to get that TP out of Tango. It does cost the TP of Corrin as well, so maybe relying on the fact that maybe Tango did not have that TP. Just starting up the Baron just way after they got the pick was a little confusing for me, but again, just could be looking to make sure that now they have a TP advantage because Kennedy obviously has the TP while CB Batman doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of those plays that you make where you think to yourself, all right, well, we got the pick. Does anyone have it written down in the playbook what we're supposed to be doing here? And then by the time you turn to that page, you're already out of time. You cannot go for the Baron. You can't go for the optimal play. But at the very least, they're not going to go super ultra crazy for it. And, oh, the spell shield gone from Idris.
Playing some dodgeball here as he is going to be able to dodge that fourth shot. But I think just, commenting back, forcing the 1 TP out of Syndicate could be beneficial because now Ryze is in the bot lane. Someone has to respond to the Rumble in top for this upcoming Dragon, and it can't really be either of their side laners, right? Because CB Batman doesn't have TP, and now Ryze won't have TP. So can perhaps develop a bit of a push here for the Rumble in order to make sure that he can rotate still to that soul fight on time.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it's going to be a big question as to who's going to be picking up the soul, but more importantly, who's going to contest that soul, right? Baron is so much more of a big threat over here rather than the Cloud Soul. And we're seeing it come to fruition again and again and again. Teams just threatening that Baron, and we're starting up a full fight here.
The fight has begun, and it's Willie going to be caught here by the Nautilus ultimate, and it's going to be, again, everyone is just grouped up, particles flying in every which way, and right now, it looks like Hypnotic Viper diving back in with just so little HP, and it's Idris going down, Corrin, and Husky Templar carrying this fight as best they can. Tango will be able to trade back at least one, but it's an ace for the side of Iceborn, and that means Soul is on the menu.
And we were talking about choke points before, and look at that. Once again, everyone getting burned down by that equalizer, but most importantly, Hypnotic Viper surviving with just a sliver of HP, hops straight back into the fight and takes out Idris. The Varus getting completely jump scared, not ready for the Vi to be breathing straight down his neck, and in the end, Iceborn gonna pick up that soul. Very strong position for them here, and they've got to be feeling so good about this game. All 5 of their boots upgraded.
Triumph is a broken rune. Change my mind. Hypnotic Viper with no health at all is able to take out the Idris by just diving back in, getting those Triumph heals. And that fight was so hard to cast because everyone was just in the exact same area getting hit by everyone's AoE. That was definitely a bit of a cluster there for both of these squads, but it's Iceborn who come out on top, claim the soul. Baron is still on the table for both of these teams as the Baron dance has begun.
Yeah, I mean, of the souls, it is going to be the Cloud Soul, which isn't necessarily the strongest of souls on Iceborn's team composition.
I love Cloud Soul.
I think Cloud Soul's nice.
Powerful.
I think it's definitely nice. I think that there's a few champions who aren't necessarily too keen on having it, Husky Templar in particular. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
The one thing is that it's a denial from Syndicate, because I would argue Syndicate's composition, on the other hand, extremely strong with that Cloud Soul. I mean, if you pop it on Ryze, you just get an extra bit of move speed buff. The Warwick just getting even more range on that ultimate. And there's just so much that this does, but most importantly, it allows the Elder to spawn in for more minutes, and that's 2 extremely high value objectives on the map, And right now, Baron's still getting looked at here or there, but nobody's really pulling the trigger just yet.
This is the most stressful part of the game for sure. Someone steps out of line, that means a free Baron, potentially leading into an Elder. Tons of stress, no doubt, on both of these teams, as the gold is even. No team has an inherited full advantage over the other. Yes, Iceborn has that Cloud Soul, definitely going to be beneficial, but it is not Hextech Soul. You are right that it's not the most broken soul in the game, but can still can still be a big factor that Syndicate, when engaging
Far
these fights,
from a
need to
problem.
consider.
Yeah, far from weak. Don't get me wrong. A soul is a soul, but you know, there's just a few others out there where you think to yourself, maybe we could go a little bit more. In the meantime, Tennessee has decided to opt for the triple haunting guys build, and continues to break my heart. Does not want to throw 800 gold towards that healing reduction.
We don't need
but at the very
heal
least,
cut
that's a
in
lot
this
of damage.
Very true.
Yeah, I mean,
Rumble is going to be a very, very potent threat here, as all the vision is cleared out, which means Iceborn does have a step on their opponents here, as looks like Oprah for the Winfrey does not actually get hit by the Zenith Blade here. At least not yet, as Willie is still looking for a potential engage angle here, and Hypnotic Viper and the rest of Iceborn are on the Baron. All right, for the Winfrey does get the hook onto the Willy, but now he is actually the first one to go down, as Chili Savior is looking for Husky Templar, and Jin has to end the ult early, but the Rumble ultimate will land onto 2. Tango forced to flash away. Kennedy also flashing, and Chill Savior will actually be able to take out that Rumble, and it's a cease and desist once again, keeping Hypnotic Viper alive with just a sliver of HP, and it's going to be a 2 for 3 here in favor of Iceborn, but Baron is stopped for now.
Yeah, I mean, Hypnotic Viper just keeps on finding ways to just sliver right on out of these fights, just so barely close to dying, but still says, I understand my limits. I really, really understand this champion better than any of you ever could, and just manages to find a way to coin flip each and every opportunity. But in the meantime, we're seeing what looks to be a trade of towers, but just like that...
TP, Oh, they didn't know which way he went. Oh, that is unfortunate. Are
Speaking
looking for
coin
him,
flips.
not realizing that he went down instead of up, and Tengo is able to make his escape.
Yeah, but that's actually really big there, that the fact that it burns Korn's TP. Yes, you do save the tower, but a TP for a Realm Warp, I'll take that trade any day. It is still relatively close in gold, only 2,500 difference, even less than that. And in the end, the team manages to stay alive for just a little bit longer. Syndicate is able to hold on to the point where we might get to the point where any team fight win could instantly end the game, regardless of who wins it.
Absolutely. Baron already down to 5k. Oprah for the Winfrey is looking for something, but the jungler here for Syndicate is nowhere even near this Baron, and that's just a free secure there. Baron on the board. Elder is spawning, and here we go. The hook will actually go wide, but looks like Willie is now looking for his own engage as the ultimate comes through and lands onto CB Batman, but it's actually Willie who goes down. The Rumble ultimate will not really catch anybody at all, and now it's the mid laner going down. Here comes now the Rek'Sai trying to find something onto the enemy team, and it's actually... they turn it around. I feel like each one that dives in just dies immediately. It is a 2-for-1 so far for the side of Syndicate, but meanwhile, Tango steps a little bit too far. Kennedy is now on the receiving end of a beating as CB Batman takes him out, but Husky Templar will be able to avenge his top laner. Oprah for the Winfrey. His hook lands onto the wall. Husky Templar is still full HP. Tango is not. Hypnotic Viper did not see him. I think he was still in the fog of war as Oprah for the Winfrey is dashing away. Husky Templar might not be able to snag him here as the root will not land, and just so much action for both these teams. These fights are so long.
Yeah, and any single time that one of these teams steps up, they instantly get blown up for it. That has been the name of the game. It doesn't matter how tanky you are. It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone who steps up immediately dies. But just like that, Idris picks up a crucial item here. The Serpent's Fang, just trying to deny even more of the shielding off of Hypnotic Viper that cuts so much off of the Vi passive, off of the Sterix gauge, and hopefully off of that Leona locket. But right now, with Elder started up,
yeah,
we're gonna need
the Q from
fight.
Chill Savior. The Q from Chill Savior triggering the Elder Dragon, taking a big chunk onto Willie here. As, okay, here we go.
Idris.
Looks like the cease and assist coming through, and it's on to the Varus. That is the target you're looking for, but he flashes the wall back to safety. But now Chill Savior is already down to below 100 HP, and now Kennedy is caught by the Warwick. You cannot ignore the wolf, as now that is 2 dead on the side of Iceborn, but the response is ideal, and now Corrin is looking for Idris, who has no flash. Corrin has to go into the stopwatch to save himself, and Chill Savior will flash to save his own life. Summoner spells used by both of these squads, and it's again such an even fight at 2 for 2. Never mind, as Nautilus goes down, making that 3, and with Baron, they might even look to take this inhib here.
Yeah, Chill Savior and Idris, the 2 lone survivors looking to try to stand tall against the remaining members of Iceborn, but Husky Templar still able to do so much damage. You cannot walk into auto range of this Jhin. In the meantime, Elder is getting pinged by both teams. Both teams say, all right, we have to contest this. We cannot let the other team have it. 71,000 gold on Iceborn right now, and we've gone to the point where it is certain any team fight win will end the game.
We keep saying that, but every team fight is like 3 kills to 3 kills, or 4 kills to 3 kills, and neither team can really get anything off of these win fights. There we go. If any team loses 2 more members than the enemy team, you just have to feel like the game is over. As Chill Savior does see them, at least with the Rek'Sai passive, with the Tremor Sense, does see that, oh, there's a lot of enemies in that bush there, is able to back off in time, but now the Elder Dragon is started up. Wards galore. Everyone knows that this is happening, and here we go. Oprah for the Winfrey is looking for an angle. His Hypnotic Viper actually is able to dodge the hook there, and the Elder Dragon will reset. But now the river is controlled by the side of Syndicate, and now the TP is coming back in from the Rumble. The Nautilus will be able to land the ultimate, but now the first one to die is Willie. Husky Templar is able to flash away. Kennedy picks up the kill onto the Warwick. For Oprah for the Winfrey is able to hook away to safety, but that safety will not last for very long, as now it's Chill Savior going to be the next one to go down, and this is almost as clean of a team fight win as you can get. The Elder is secured, the explosions galore, and that is going to be a team fight win and a game win here for the side of Iceborn.
Almost 40 minutes in, Iceborn finally managed to seal it out at the Elder Dragon, and with 4 strong, they run straight down that mid lane. They take out both the towers, they take out the Nexus. Not a single person will stop them from taking game number 1, and Iceborn, with the push R composition, bounce back for week number 2. But once again, this is game number 1. We're starting things off with bangers, and it is only going to get more exciting.
I think I need to get some water because there were a lot of extended fights in that game, but what I am most excited about is just how entertaining that game was. When you get to this higher level of League, all these players know the game so incredibly well, play their champions to almost perfect synergy. That is just so entertaining to watch, and it was so back and forth that entire game. It felt like it could go either way, but Iceborn Black with such a good last team fight there, securing the Elder Dragon, taking out everybody on the enemy team, and claiming their victory. We are going to go to a quick break here, but don't go anywhere because we'll be right back with more Vanquisher action. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody, to Titan Vanquisher Iceborn in such a chaotic but entertaining game. 39 minutes, back and forth. Finally, clutch. Game 1 on the final team fight. They are now on blue side here for this upcoming draft. What needs to be different coming out here from Syndicate to make sure that this isn't a 2-0?
Well, I'll tell you for certain, no Warwick, and thankfully, it's a fearless draft, so we're not going to see any more of that.
There is no Warwick this upcoming game. That is true, but early bans coming out. Echo and Gwen and Nefiri, please continue.
Yeah, I mean, we joke around that no Warwick, but more specifically, no more running in as an aggro tank without the tanky part yet, right? I mean, you can't just pick Warwick and rush a Bork while deciding to run straight into the enemy team. It was getting really, really tough for CV Batman right at the very beginning. And I gotta say, one thing I really love about the draft at the very least is the Echo Syndra dichotomy, right? I mean, every single time we see from Iceborn, we say, all right, we don't want to deal with Tango's Echo. And on the other side, Syndicate says, all right, well, we don't want to deal with Core and Syndra, right? Because it's just the classic counterpicks here. But speaking of which, there's that third jungler that we didn't talk about, the Xin Zhao.
Xin Zhao picked up here. First pick overall here for Hypnotic Viper. Had a very, very, I think, well-executed game on the Vi several times. Was dancing on the edge of death, but still managed. Oh, they did pick Urgot. We were talking about this.
We were just talking about it.
We were just talking about this champion. I said, if they pick Urgot, I am going to lose my mind. He is... I said I loved Rek'Sai. Urgot is my #1 champion. I have been an Urgot main for 4 years. I'm excited to talk about some tidbits with him, but we have to focus on the rest of draft. So on the side of Iceborn, Xin Zhao is going to be paired up with a very, very common, or very well established bot lane in the Misfortune and the Rel. Lockdown for the bullet time. And it's Ezreal Braum. Such a safe lane on the other side.
Yeah, such a safe lane, but more importantly, Idri's most experienced, highest mastery champion being that Ezreal, right? I mean, we saw Idri's last time just playing that weak side, playing that Varus, just trying to put out as much damage as possible, but we understand this time he says, all right, I just want a chance to get a little bit more damage, and what? Why? I'm a little bit confused here. So
we were also talking about that champion, funny enough. We were talking about the Aurelia, and the Aurelia is going to be banned here. They're listening. They listen.
After my own hatred, banning the Aurelia for no reason, despite the Urgot already being picked up. Unless this is a super hard call out to say, oh, well, you know, we don't want the Urgot mid, or, you know, we don't want Tango playing that Irelia mid, but I just don't see it happening. In the meantime,
it could also be Urgot jungle. I doubt it, but it could be.
I guess so.
Some mid laners banned on the other side in the Ahri and Orianna. Obviously, Xin Zhao, very good ball delivery system. Rel, very good ball delivery system. Just taking out any way for that wombo combo. Yorick, one of the biggest counters to the Urgot. His wall does not get targeted by Urgot's W. So if you get trapped in the wall as Urgot, you can't just machine gun it down very, very easily. It is a bit of a nightmare there for the Urgot to deal with. But it's Trundle here, picked up as the final pick for the side of Syndicate.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, so you were mentioning Urgot jungle. I mean, I don't think we're going to be seeing that crazy little swap here, but Trundle for many, many years, many seasons, has been a classic counterpick to that Xin Zhao, right? We don't really see it so often nowadays because Trundle doesn't just have the ability to walk into the enemy jungle for free in the higher levels of play, but at the very least, you know, the lower you go, the more you see Trundle just kind of walking in, beating the hell out of Xin Zhao, eating the entire jungle, and walking straight back out like it's a supermarket, right? At the very least, of the duelists in the jungle that you are going to have the ability to go for one with, Trundle is very, very good with that. And most importantly, Trundle means that your team composition gets half less of a tank. So with that, Yorick usually not even going to be building all that tanky. essentially a non-factor as far as the aggro tanking is concerned, and Iceborn have a very squishy team composition on their hands.
What I like about the Trundle pick here, Yorick, no escapes. Talia, no dashes except for her ultimate. Misfortune, no dashes. Zinzao, no escapes. If a good Trundle pillar can cut off the enemy team, the only person that could even think to hop over it is the Rel, which hopefully is not going to be the case. Rel should not be running away from a fight. So this pillar has gotten like a lot of benefit here, because if you could get that behind a Misfortune, she is not going to be able to run around that. So I think this is a very, very powerful pick. Trundle is just, again, a champion that is very, very easy to execute, very easy to have an impact in this game, and I think this was a very, very good counter pick here for the side of Syndicate. Do you think that this is going to be the draft that they need in order to turn this whole game around and force a game 3? Or do you predict that Iceborn with this draft, you know, the split push coming out from the Yorick, the team fight potential of the Rel Misfortune, do you think that that is going to be the bigger impact in this game and lead Iceborn to a 2-0?
Honestly, it's a really big question, right? Because so much of the Syndicate draft is actually, so what you might not anticipate is that it's so focused around this Urgot pick, right? Around CB Batman, you know, the player who was having admittedly a relatively rough game the last go around, but this time around they say, all right, well, we trust you, we're going to stick you on that Urgot, and we understand you might end up running into some tough matchups, so we're simply going to pick some champions that are going to have a phenomenal time at helping you out with that Twisted Fate, with that Trundle, right? I mean, so much of the time when you pick Twisted Fate, you pair it with a champion who benefits from that point and click CC, right? Someone who brings all of the damage, doesn't even need to bring any lockdown. Like, you know, you pick Twisted Fate with Pantheon, with Talia, you know, something crazy like that, where it says, all right, well, if you have the point and click lockdown, you had the rest of the damage coming in. Trundle's not one of those champions. Trundle doesn't really have that, I'm gonna hop into lane and instantly 100-0 the first person that appears. Instead, Trundle's one of those champions that says, I have some lockdown myself. I can, you know, very slowly take out the enemy laner. Meanwhile, Trundle, very good at dealing with Yorick. Twisted Fate, very good at helping out side lanes. So much of this is focused onto CB Batman, and the question is Iceborn going to respond by playing for that, you know, 3v3 in that top lane, or are they just going to throw everything in the kitchen sink into the bot lane?
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this game plays out. I'm very, very excited for an Urgot pick, and definitely going to be paying a bit extra attention to that. But before we do so, we are going to be heading to a quick break here, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Game 2 action between Iceborn and Syndicate after this. Welcome back to the Rift. Game 2 here between Iceborn and Syndicate. I was right. It is Urgot Jungle. It is Urgot Jungle. I love Urgot Jungle. His clear is insanely fast. Okay, I have hopefully some tidbits to say because I have actually been playing a lot of Urgot Jungle lately. I don't know. I base my build around a Masters player in Europe, so I am very excited about this. I'm not going to make the entire game about Urgot, obviously, but this is going to be a very exciting moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, Zazie, I gotta say, this takes every complaint I have of the composition and throws it right out the window because Urgot Jungle is one of those champions that benefits more from gold card than almost any other champion in the jungle. Right?
Yeah,
and especially with that, Pillar also extremely good for Urgot Jungle.
Absolutely. And it's just going to be who could split push better out there in the top lane between the Trundle and the Yorick. But if we're talking about team comps here, I really like what Syndicate has cooked up because as we look on the side of Iceborn right now, you know, they have a lot of engage. And look at the enemy, the other side. They have an Ezreal who is really good disengage, Braum who's really good disengage, Urgot who wants people to dive into him so that he can get a free E off. Like, this is very much a let them come to us and then we dictate the pace of the fight afterward.
Yeah, and much more than a let them come to us. With that Trundle Pillar, it's so good for Syndicate, whether they side lane, whether they go for a team fight, because not only is Trundle one of the few champions that can actually match the Yorick in the side lane, the Pillar makes it so unbelievably difficult for Iceborn's team composition to actually walk in and do much of anything.
Absolutely. And okay, here we go. A little bit of a fight here in the top lane as CB Batman taking a bit of abuse here from these ghouls. That is literal bullying, just taking multiple of your friends and throwing them at the enemy there. But definitely not a good trade here for the Trundle, but should be able to heal that up fairly easily.
Yeah, I mean, Yorick, I think, is one of those champions that perfectly exemplifies one of my favorite hypotheticals, which is how many third graders could you take in a fight? And Yorick just tells everyone. And Yorick always says 4 is the answer. Yeah. And a lot of the times, you can't take 4 in a fight. But in the end, right, so much of this laning phase between the Trundle and the Yorick is going to be about who can actually get on top of the other, right? Tennessee does not want to really... Oh, hold on.
Here we go in the bot lane. Both summoners used here from Husky Templars. Willie is also forced to just kind of limp away from this fight as this bot lane of Syndicate is showing their dominance early.
Yeah, in the meantime, we see a little bit of Chill Savior in that top lane, but not going to be seeing too much more of that as Hypnotic Viper just goes straight over to the other side, says, all right, I'm getting that double scuttle. I mean, it's Urgot Jungle, not going to be the fastest clearer on the planet as far as I'm aware. His
clear is very quick if you take W first. Because your passive just does so much damage in the early game that... with W, you absolutely melt that first buff, and then you go on from there. But his clear definitely does speed up, especially after you get level 9, because then you use the auto attack cancel with the 3 W procs, and then your clear is the fastest in the game, in my opinion. But definitely early on, he can struggle a little bit if he doesn't get that first buff done in time, but I think because he went for that gank in the top side, that just allowed the Xin Zhao to pull off the double scuttle and unfortunately put the Urgot a little bit behind, but hopefully we'll be able to make that recovery here.
Speaking of recoveries.
Yeah, here we go. It looks like we have some action here in the mid lane as Corrin does use the flash early on. I feel like if he didn't, that was just a gold card into a Braum stun, into a Urgot flip. And that would have been one very dead mid laner. So forced to use the flash here to keep himself alive for now.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're here with your treasure trove of Urgot knowledge, because I mean, so much of the time when you see these junglers that aren't picked a lot of the time in competitive, the reason why they're not picked is their clear speed is terrible, right? And Urgot jungle, clearly not one of those champions. In the meantime, CB Batman, a much more reserved laning phase than we saw in that previous game, but a much better laning phase than we saw in that last game. We might also see the Bork Rush come in from CB Batman as well. Once again, just continuing to harass this Yorick over and over and over again.
Yeah,
but with the
Trumbull, with the Trundle, usually it's a Bork into Ravenous. You just want to get as much lifesteal as possible, because with the passive on his W, he just heals so much if he's standing in his W. So normally that is typically what I see out of top lane Trundles, but we will have to see. Is again, that is a very, very squishy build, because if you get CC'd, caught out, you do not live for very long because you're unable to heal off of that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the option of opting for the more early, how do you call it? So you go Bork, and then you can go for, some hull breakers, right? Just try to really take down some of these towers. In the meantime, Idris is really far forward, but as we said, on a very, very comfortable champion, has played so much of the Ezreal, knows exactly how much he can do. In the meantime, CB Batman is going to be able to get those quick trades onto Kenesey, getting this wave slowly shoved in, and here we go.
This will be difficult, but it is the Tango coming through as well. Heal will likely fall, so it is going to be a 1-for-1. So that is a bit unfortunate. Caught there by the wall of Yorick. So definitely is still going to miss the wave. So I think it is still overall a benefit, but definitely not as clean as Syndicate would have liked.
Yeah, maybe not the cleanest possibility there, but at the very least, there is going to be the immediate dragon trade on the other side for Iceborn. Grubs haven't quite yet spawned just yet, so it's not going to be so much more on that side. But very, very importantly, CB Batman has been getting some alone time with that tower. And if there's anything that anyone knows about Trundle, that monster can take down so many towers. And okay, so it's not going to be the Bork Rush, instead opting straight for that Ravenous Hydra. He just needs to pick up that wave clear as quickly as possible in order to take down those towers as quickly as possible. We might see that turn into something like a Stride Breaker or a Hull Breaker in the later stages of the game. It's just a matter of how hard do you want to index into that tower taking. Right now, both teams have the ability to play that 1-4 split composition, but still the possibility of playing a more team fight focused Trundle is on the table.
Okay, here we go, and that is actually going to be the ultimate from Chill Savior, dragging in Willie into the meat grinder and picking up yet another kill here for the side of Syndicate. So I was actually going to say, I'm going to drop some Urgot knowledge here. Urgot is not, between levels 3 and 9, he is relatively a very, very weak champion. He doesn't really gain any benefits from leveling up his W until he hits level 9, and it becomes a toggle. So definitely, this is the weakest part of Urgot's gameplay. So we will have to see how they are able to navigate this. Obviously, giving up all the objectives early would be really rough, but here we go. Tango in the river, has no flash, has no way out, and that is going to be a free kill delivered over to Corrin.
Yeah, that kill going straight over to Corrin, being picked up by the Ignite there. I mean, thankfully for Corrin, had the opportunity to get another Summoner Spellbook swap off, and I really, really love the use of the Summoner Spellbook, I gotta say. The recent buffs to Summoner Spellbook make it such a good Summoner's keystone to take there. I mean, if you do things just right and you have max swaps, actually, we'll hold that thought as we get into another fight.
Yet another fight, but now it's Urgot actually being in a little bit of danger, is able to flash the wall to make his escape. Oprah for the win free actually is trying to follow as well. Chill Savior, it does get hit by the wall slightly, but is still going to be able to make their escape. But it's blue team picking up the feats of warfare as CB Batman finds himself in a very dangerous scenario. There is no way out. Maybe he could grab a minion or two on his way to the grave, and Xin Zhao is going to be the one to put him there.
Yeah, and a kill over to Hypnotic Viper, and that is yet another kill over to a jungler that we've seen do so much disgusting work in that last game. This time it's not going to be quite as impactful as the point and click ultimate from the Vi, but Xin Zhao also very much a point and click champion that has the ability to just do whatever it is that he wants at almost any stage of the game, as long as you're provided that you can play him properly. And Hypnotic Viper seems to have quite the mastery of so many of the champions that he's playing. In the meantime, Idri is just very quietly picking up as much farm as possible in this bot lane, as Husky Templar is getting closer and closer to that Bloodthirster. It's going to be much, much harder to deal with this misfortune when she always has those strut stacks available.
Absolutely, and we can see that Urgot is in the bot lane right now. Might be looking for a play here. Doesn't have flash, but does have the almost Ghost Blade, so he is a very fast six-legged crab. And meanwhile, Husky Templar is forced to use the flash in order to avoid that Urgot ultimate. It is blocked by Willie as well, just for a bit of extra precaution, I suppose. But that is going to be a summer spell used here by Husky in order to make sure he can escape that Urgot gank.
Yeah, I mean, didn't have to burn the... Oh, wow, actually going to be burning that bullet time in order to take out the wave. You know, just took the words right out of my mouth. But in the end, also didn't have to burn that cleanse. Still retains that if the Twisted Fate does still look towards that bot lane. Just burns a flash and gets away. In the meantime, the feats are getting closer and closer for the side of Iceborn. Hypnotic Viper?
Hypnotic Viper just took out... Idri's in the bot lane there. It looks like we will be able to get that on replay here, as he seems to just kind of walk forward, gets the with the flash. Idri's did not see it coming. Didn't really have a lot of mana. I don't know if he would have been even able to E if he wanted to. But Hypnotic Viper does manage to pick up just a free kill onto the enemy AD carry and move that score up to 5-2 here for kills in favor of Iceborn, who right now seem to be in control of this game with the early objectives.
Yeah, not only with the early objectives, but also with the kills, with the team fights, with yet another big trade in the mid lane.
Yeah, but just out of range of that yellow card, so Corrin is going to be able to walk out. Doesn't even have to use the flash. Meanwhile, it looks like Hypnotic Viper and Willie are just going to back up for now. Oprah for the win free will take the W here from Hypnotic Viper, but not really anything coming out of that play here. Oh, but maybe from this one, as Husky Templar is looking for potentially... an angle here to release some sort of damage, but still doesn't have the ultimate as was used earlier. And it looks like just some poking and prodding going on between these two teams for now.
Yeah, just a little bit between these two teams, as the more and more that you poke and prod at one another, the more it usually goes over to the team that has more healing available. And I mean, Xin Zhao has the innate healing. Husky Templar getting closer and closer to that Bloodthirster. At the very least, in terms of the poke war, it's almost certainly going to be in Ice's favor early on. But Iceborn are instead just going to drop the dragon entirely.
Yeah, kind of... I mean, it could just be they don't really care about this objective that much for dragon stacking purposes. They got what they wanted. They pulled Corrin out. Not entirely sure what the call was there, obviously, but just giving up the dragon means just a free one over for Syndicate. Does still mean that Iceborn is 2-1 right now in favor of objectives, but here we go. Top lane Tango is looking for Kennedy. Here comes CB Batman, does pop the ultimate and the pillar. Kennedy does not really have a way out. Maiden is not going to be enough to save him, as Tango teams up with his top laner to make sure that they can snag that kill.
Yeah, not only were they able to snag that kill, they are almost certainly going to be able to snag the first tower here. CB Batman getting the chance to just hit this tower as much as possible. We're getting another fight in mid lane.
Jill Savior does not have flash and no way to make it over that wall. Oprah for the win free is forced out by the Xin Zhao ultimate. I think that may have saved his life. Did still have the flash in case he needed to use it, but picking up a kill onto the enemy jungler. Definitely going to be a bit rough here for the Urgot, but that top lane turret already fallen. Now it all comes down to who could pick up that final feat of warfare, who could get the next 1 or 2 objectives, depending on what team you are, will determine who picks up the boots.
Yeah, I mean, so much of the time, the feats are definitely a nice add-on, but not necessarily a game breaker sort of deal. Honestly, I really love how the feats have changed things up when it comes to the early snowballing, I guess would be one way to put it, where there was a time period where people were like, oh my god, these are so broken. They are just the absolute end of the game. Feats are done. GG. And now we've gotten to a point where it's a nice add-on. It says, yeah, we're certainly in the lead, but Oprah for the Winfrey could certainly see himself in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Here we go. Hypnotic Viper diving in. Idris just able to use the Arcane Shift and make sure he gets away safely. But that means that right now, River Control for this Rift Herald does belong to Iceborn. Unfortunately, the Zenith Blade, no, that's not the Zenith Blade, my apologies. That is the Zinzao W, does go wide, but
I believe
is still
wind
able.
becomes lightning.
Wind becomes lightning. You are 100% correct. Thank you. But that looks like this. We are a little bit. We all are here. So that is going to be the Rift Herald here, picked up by Hypnotic Viper, but the ultimate does protect him for now, as Tango is unable to get that gold card onto Hypnotic Viper, and it looks like they will have to back up. But that means feats of warfare the feats of strength, my apologies, do go over to the side of Iceborn, as I believe that is the third objective that they have picked up.
That it is. That is certainly the third objective, is guaranteed feats over to Iceborn. But see, Batman has been picking up so many towers.
Here we go. Willie is now caught out. Will be just sacrificed here to the enemy team. Corin now moving in, does have to flash out to make sure he stays alive. Chill Savior will respond with his own flash. The shield goes up for the Braum, but that's not going to be enough to save him. CB Batman now caught behind the enemy team, and now here they go. Hypnotic Viper is looking for Idris, will pick him up. The Urgot ultimate will be able to tag one back as Chill Savior will take out the enemy jungler, but right now that is overall a 2-for-2 traded between both teams.
Yeah, it might be a 2-for-2, and it might be a 3-kill lead for Iceborn, but look at that gold lead. So unbelievably small, and it's on Syndicate's side. CB Batman has been doing so much for the waves, but...
a great seismic shove here, front of the side of Corin. Does pick up the kill onto Tango here. Did not have the flash, no way to dodge that shove, and that is just... They even get the Maiden out, who was behind the turret, so definitely a bit rough here for the side of Syndicate, but Iceborn showing why they are here to play.
Yeah, Iceborn absolutely putting on a clinic here. I mean, the gold lead completely evened out, despite having 2 towers extra down, but at the very least, the one shining light for the side of Syndicate is this... Trundle, right? CB Batman picking up that hull breaker exactly like I was saying earlier, right? Absolutely. You leave this Trundle in a side lane with 1 wave, that's 2 towers. That might even be, an inhib, right? But the dragon spawning means that there is yet another objective on the map while CB Batman drags 2 to the top lane.
And this is what you were asking for from game 1, is that if CB Batman with his side lane pick is able to drag multiple members, that might be a benefit in the fight to come, which is right now, as Oprah for the Winfrey does manage to make his escape. Corin, with that ultimate, will be able to join the fight as well, but Chill Savior is now by himself. This is not what you want as Urgot, as he is able to use that E to make his escape, and now with some very, very low health bars, even with 2 dragged to that top lane, like you said, it looks like the fight, even though no one has died, is going over to Iceborn.
Yeah, at the very least, Corin, with that Weaver's Wall, was able to join the fight extremely quickly. No teleport needed. No flash actually available. Ghost and Cleanse on the Talia currently. That Summer Spellbook really allowed Corin to get as far around the Summoner buffet as possible. But another dragon going down could spell disaster for Syndicate here. Another turret going down at the very least, but is continually just a matter of, one little bit of respite, another trade. Like, they can't get any big wins without losing something in return.
Trundle with a very powerful 1v1 against that Maiden does mean Kennesy will be very, very vulnerable for the next while. I think Trundle now very much in favor in that side lane. We're going to have to see if Syndicate is able to play around this Trundle, allow him to potentially look for those side lane plays. And if that leads to a backdoor, an exploded Nexus is an exploded Nexus. So definitely want to play around their strong side right now, which is CB Batman.
Yeah, and one thing is particularly interesting is the Phage pickup here. I think that's going to be a Triforce on the Trundle as well. See, that man really wants the side lane. There is nothing more that this man wants in his life here, and we're seeing so many people come down to this bot lane and make it happen.
All right, but are they enough to take down this raid boss that is the Trundle? CB Batman is almost able to pick up the kill onto Hypnotic Viper, but he's healing so freaking much, and it's finally going to be able to go down. But that means that in the top side, they are going to start up this Atacon. Tango is low. Husky Templar is looking for that final shot, does have to flash in order to get it, and now it's Idris using the barrier to try and live. Cannot do so. So that is going to be 3 kills overall going over to Iceborn. But the remaining 2 members are still on this Atacon, will likely be able to take it down, but they're going to lose so much on the map because of this.
Yeah, I'm not 100% certain how worth it this Otacon pickup is, because they're not just losing the one mid tower, they're losing yet another mid tower on top of that. The tier 2, they're probably going to end up losing the tier 2 in the bot lane as well, but no, Hypnotic Viper
I know what he was going for. He wanted to make sure that he was as right as possible to try and see if he could weave that in on the left, but a little unfortunate that he couldn't get it done, but they still managed to get the mid lane tower. They still managed to get that tower as well. Definitely still making the most of that cross map plays.
Did his best Tokyo Drift impression, but in the end, he was Han. Oh, well. Oh, crazy,
spoilers.
crazy.
But anyway.
Spoiler, Tokyo Drift has been around for so many...
Fair enough. But anyway, so far, almost a 2,000 gold lead here for the side of Iceborn. They have 2 dragons up. Almost, they are even in towers. But here we go, yet another side lane pickoff here for the side of CB Batman. You are Trundle, yes, but you cannot duel against 4 of the enemy teams. So yet another kill donated over to the side of Iceborn.
Yeah, and one thing I will note here. Oh, hold on. Another fight in the bot lane.
Hiding in the bushes. Does manage to get a decent trade onto Tango. But Tango now with that yellow card, just in case, will be able to run out. So does get chunked, but still manages actually to get that wave all the way into the tower. So will eventually get the bounce back. Not too much lost here for the side of Syndicate on that play.
Yeah, but, you know, as we were saying, right, so much of the power is in the Trundle to try to get all that side laning done, to try to take down as many towers as possible. But you have to be really careful.
The Destiny comes through. Willie with the stun. Oh, the flash forward into the ultimate here for Rel is so damn powerful, as the bullet time also will just cut through the enemy team. They are very, very low, and the Urgot will manage to get one back as Corian goes down, but Tango is taken out on the top side here by Hypnotic Viper, and Chill Savior is in full retreat. So is CB Batman, as he was not really a player in this fight, unfortunately. Husky Templar does not have the flash this time, will likely not be able to catch up to the Urgot, but that is still a great turnaround play there from Willie and Husky Templar. Great play, and they will get an inhib off of this and fully take control of this game.
Yeah, and it's just team fight after team fight after team fight, as Iceborn are just continually coming out on top with, 4 or 5 people just collapsing onto some hapless members of Syndicate here, and it continues to look so good for the side of Syndicate if you just close your eyes and let the Trundle push. But unfortunately, nobody's allowing that to happen, right? So much of Iceborn is just built around shutting down this Trundle. Just every single time CB Batman runs up into a side lane, it needs to be at a perfect time, during another objective, during another push on the other side of the map. Sometimes it feels like CB Batman just kind of running up to try to take an objective, or to try to take a tower, regardless of what position his teammates are in, and he's getting extremely hard punished for it sometimes. In the meantime, now CB Batman pushing into this bot lane as the Baron begins to spawn. No teleport available onto the Yorick, so this is a true test of how strong the side laning can be, but Kennedy will surely just be able to clear out this wave.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just from that earlier fight, just what a perfect combo. We were talking about this in draft. The Magnet Storm into the bullet time. Such a tried and true combo here for that misfortune. And the flash from Willie was perfect, definitely to win that fight. But it actually turns out to be Syndicate who managed to pick up that dragon. So even dragons here, you're sitting at a 4K gold disadvantage. What is the game plan here? Because obviously Idris definitely behind as far as gold is concerned, almost 2K down. But meanwhile, CB Batman actually trying to fight Kennedy. He has no maiden, I don't think, but the ghouls will be there to save him. And now the rest of the team is here to try and save their top laner. The Trundle will try yet again, is healing quite a bit, but again with 4 members on the enemy team, you will not be able to fight your way out of that one, but Baron is now being taken.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about, Sasi. It's just so good if you can get the Trundle to split push in the middle of an objective take, in the middle of a big push on the other side of the map. You can draw so many people over to that other side if you can make it happen.
Here's the Weaver's Wall. Oprah for the Winfrey might not be able to make it out. The Urgot does try to provide something, but the shield goes the wrong way. But I don't think that would have mattered, unfortunately. Very, very low. The bullet time likely still would have been able to take him out. But at least Idris and Chill Savior will get out. There will be Baron onto at least 3 members, but still at a 3K disadvantage. Definitely still going to be an uphill climb here for Syndicate.
Yeah, definitely going to be an uphill climb, but at the very least, CB Batman is starting to get some incredibly good split pushes going on, right? Now that you got Baron on 3, you have a perfect position to get yourself a 1-4 split composition, right? Where the Trundle in that side lane is still going to force people to come on over. Look at that Triforce completion. This is going to be a tower gone if you blink. In the meantime, 4 people barreling down that mid lane would mean a huge amount of minions that you have to be ready and waiting for on the side of Iceborn. It might be 18-6 in terms of the overall score, but this game is so much closer than the scores let on.
Absolutely, but the only downside is, yeah, even if CB Batman is able to drag multiple members to that top side, I just feel like Syndicate has really been struggling in these team fights because none of their gold is on their carries. You know, Tango hasn't been able to amass any kills. Neither has Idris. They do have a few onto Urgot, which definitely does like having gold. But here we go. Another fight here in top lane. CB Batman sees the TP, but does not care. Now he does a little bit as he realizes the juggler is here as well. And yet again, picked off with multiple members. Unfortunately, with no objective, there isn't really going to be a cross map here for Syndicate.
Yeah, not so much in terms of the cross map. At the very least, they did manage to pick up that teleport. But at this point, it's just a matter of ping enemy summoners, #worth in all chat. But here we go.
The ultimates do land. The flash forward here from Chill Savior is trying to pick up Willie. Will likely get him. It is low. Chill Savior does manage to pick up that kill, and Husky Templar is very low. Does have to use the flash and the cleanse in order to make their escape. But meanwhile, the bullet time is actually seismic tossed out of it, but is still going to be enough to pick up that Urgot. The Destiny is used just to try and escape, as it's now Yorick knocking on the door in Syndicate's base, who is going to be... You were mentioning that Trundle is able to split push, but guess what? So is Yorick, as that is now the team fight generally even, but Yorick is able to pick up an inhibitor in the meanwhile.
Yeah, I mean, Trundle is the split push master, but Yorick is always going to be that thorn in your side, literally never not going to be split pushing. CB Batman not going to be able to stop the Yorick, not going to be able to stop the Maiden, but at the very least, already running straight down that top lane wave. We already know where we're going to see CB Batman in 2 minutes when that dragon is being contested, and it's not going to be at Dragon, I'll tell you that.
Very unlikely, but he is pushing into a lane with super minions, so is definitely going to be a lot slower than normal. And the dragon has already been started. Noper for the Winfrey is getting chunked out, already down to below health. Corrin is just throwing rocks like crazy here, and that is going to be a dragon take. Excuse me, for the side of Iceborn, as now Trundle is at the turret, but like we said, with the supers. Not even at the tower yet. No, he was still taking out the wave.
Yeah.
So not really able to get a tower off of that. Definitely a win here for the side of Iceborn.
Yeah, Iceborn able to pick up that dragon, and while if they were able to, survive, if Syndicate were able to stall for, let's say, another 10, 15 seconds, that would have been a relatively all right trade. It just kind of turns into a dragon for nothing, right? They're trying to make something happen. CB Batman continually on that side lanes. No bat signal available for this Trundle. Instead, the teleport is pretty much always ending up being used to go straight to another side lane. Yet another fight in the mid lane.
All right, here we go. Weaver's Wall trying to cut off the enemy team, but now it's Tengo using the Destiny to get in. Willie with the Magnet Storm does not really pick up anybody, and it's Idris picking up the first kill of this team fight. Meanwhile, the Bullet Time does manage to take out Tengo, but Anki Templar is so low, and Idris with the snipe will be able to snag that kill as well. But so far, 3 have fallen on the side of Iceborn, and we were talking about how Iceborn should be the ones winning the team fights. Not that one.
Yeah, not that one, because CB Batman teleported into a team fight. Never before seen Trundle footage, right? And in the end, the 4v5 is going to work out for the side of Syndicate. There's so much gold on the side of Iceborn, but you cannot just completely overlook them, right? There's still so much damage on the side of Syndicate. Idris still on that iconic Ezreal pick. The Urgot jungle putting out so much damage, especially with that Black Cleaver allowing so many more damage points and so many more carries to do the damage that they want. And honestly, the lowest damage member of the team being Tango, we're not going to count Braum damage here, but the lowest damage carry on the team on Tango is still able to get so much set up here. And I'm not sure if CB Batman can make this happen.
He's doing a little bit better. Has the Stair Axe. The flash is used by Kennedy in order to get out, but unfortunately that flash is just enough to keep Kennedy alive. But now Tengo will try to get in, but that is just a TP to his death. Meanwhile, in the top side of the map, it looks like it's going to be a 3v3 between the remaining members of the team, but that is 2 kills now picked up for the side of Iceborn. And Baron is still alive. The TP's coming through for both of their solo laners, 1 to the Wave and 1 to the Baron.
Yeah, and the teleport in with the blue card was definitely not what Tango wanted. CB Batman and Tango both being down for this Baron means that this Baron is surely going down. And the question is, can they even punish Kennedy?
All right, the Weaver's Wall, again, trying to cut off any escapes for the side of Syndicate. But the first casualty is that Yorick getting thrown into the Urgot ultimate. Chill Savior now finds himself on the other side of the wall that he does not want to be on, and Corrin will take him out. So, yeah. 1 for 1 after the Baron. Tough to tell if that is really a benefit for the side of a Syndicate, because right now they have to try and defend this Baron push 4v4, and it's going to be tough, especially with the lack of wave clear in this comp.
I mean, I'd argue that it is still going to be a relative benefit, especially because Urgot doesn't have the ultimate available. So at the very least, should be fine in terms of taking one more person out there, as CV Batman is able to help clear out these waves. And yes, you are going to be losing all 3 inhibs, but hey, it could always be worse. But in the end, they're not even going to lose 2 inhibs, as Iceborn just say, all right, well, we don't want to take the 90% play, we want to take the 100% play. And just like that, Syndicate lives to fight yet another day. But one thing to note
now, go ahead.
is Dragon in 30 seconds.
Very, very true. And still struggling with a little over a 4,000 gold deficit at this point. Definitely not the worst comeback that would be that Syndicate have to overcome, but definitely not going to be easy with this Baron buff. But meanwhile, the Braum ultimate coming through. Kennedy is the first one to tank it, but no damage seems to have been done. The Magnet Storm bullet time, baby! It's more than enough to carve through Syndicate. 3 down. Baron is still buffing the team for another minute, and this might just be the end of the series.
And it's another bloody game, but the bullet time Magnet Storm combo is the decider. Willie will die to try to make sure that no one on Syndicate can come back to stop this Nexus take, and nobody will. Iceborn are going to be able to take it 2-0. Congrats to Iceborn Black. It was a banger after banger, but in the end, team fight compositions are the name of the game.
A very, very entertaining series to watch, back and forth between both of these teams, very evenly matched, and so much fun to be here. Iceborn Black coming through with the victory, putting them at 1-1. So probably the best bounce back they could have asked after losing in week 1. Congratulations to them. What are your final thoughts just from this, from not just this game, but from the series overall?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, so much of this, I gotta say, is you gotta be taking a look at Hypnotic Viper. Man is playing on fire, whether it be on that Vi, on that Xin Zhao, just always able to get into the right place at the right time to really punish everything that not just the enemy jungler wants to do, but enemy laners want to do. And most importantly, knows his limits on these champions, right? Whether, it's 1 health left with a Vi flashing in to try to take out a Varus and succeeding somehow, or it's the Xin Zhao just finding a way how to survive in the middle of all these team fights. Is just so cool to see someone who clearly has a very high, not mastery points per se, but a very high mastery of the champions that they're picking in those jungles. I mean, some of those have been in some really, really tough spots. Chill Savior, for example, playing that Rek'Sai in game number 1 was looking so good. And, Hypnotic Viper got caught trying a really cheeky play, but in the end, still ends up coming out on top.
Absolutely. Definitely. As we mentioned in game 1, that was a game that the jugglers were really going to have to influence with just the volatility that was all around the map. And I agree with you that Hypnotic Viper played as perfectly as he possibly could. Definitely putting the team on his back with both of these performances here. So definitely got to give our props there. Are there any final thoughts that you have before we sign off here for the night?
I mean, outside of how thankful I am to be back on the casting desk, also casting with you, thank you so much to everyone for tuning in, and thank you, Shivam, also on that production. So much goes into bringing these games to life. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Make sure to tune in the rest of the week to every single one of the sets that we've got available on the main channel, because man, if they're all bangers like this one, you better not be missing out.
Absolutely. Final congratulations to Iceborn Black for their victory today. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for Conqueror League. For all of us here at Titan, Thank you for joining us today. We will see you next time. Take care, everybody. Stay safe out there.